It's been 65 days since Yoni's daughter, Naama, was kidnapped to Gaza. The chilling video of her abduction has become a symbol of cruelty and harm to young women and the danger they are in. When the children began to return from captivity, some of the girls returned with braids in their hair, braids that Naama's parents know closely.
Maybe it's stories we tell ourselves. Naama did a lot of triathlons in her youth, and this is exactly the way they used to do these braids.
Imagining her sitting and doing braids for a little girl she took care of is something that could actually sound normal.
Yes, it certainly warms the heart, but for a relatively limited time.
Since then, a real sign of life has arrived. Abductees who saw Naama and were with her before they were released called Yoni and said they had met her. She is injured, but alive.
The first feeling is there is air. You can breathe again. But it lasted a few hours until the evidence came. Naama is 19 years old. She's a girl. She has quite a few girls with her, young girls. We all understand their vulnerability, the potential harm that can be done to them, and the feeling that those who are running the war, there's no one to trust. They're the only ones we can put our trust in. But as long as they don't give the most basic sense of security, it actually causes this cry to be doubled and doubled.
I received a call from someone who was with him. He asked them to call me and gave my phone number. He literally said, "This is the number, please call her and tell her that I'm alive and that they should do everything possible to get me out."
The last time she heard from him was when he and their mother hid in the safe room in a bed under the blankets, and their father left and never returned. After a few days, she found out her parents were murdered and Itay was kidnapped. In the message he conveyed to her through the abductees, she understood for the first time what was happening that morning.
From what Itay told the hostages that were with him, on October 7th, they were in the safe room. They covered themselves with blankets, and then the terrorists started shooting at them. My mother must have shouted that she was injured and probably died. I hope at least she died quickly and didn't suffer, but Itay already knew she was dead. It seemed that he was injured by something, and he probably stood up, according to what I understood, and then they took him away. And so that's why I say he was in fear of death from the moment they actually shot him, and he didn't die. Miraculously, he didn't die. And since then, he has been in constant fear of death until this moment.
When you receive such a sign of life, does it give hope or does it do the opposite?
There's this kind of sigh of relief for a moment that he's alive. But then I also understand that he's in the worst mental and emotional state, the worst I could never actually imagine. And even more than that, because until then, I couldn't imagine it at all. I didn't allow myself to imagine he was, where he was. And now suddenly it became tangible. I was told that he was very, very fearful and that he's very scared. I heard that from the words he said to them, from the conversations that were held there, that this is not the Itay I know.
You must understand that even if the swaps return according to the list at the moment, Itay will not be the first to come back.
First of all, I'm not ready to accept it. It's very easy to make categories, but no, there are people there waiting to be taken out, and every minute that passes, they are in danger.
You think the dog feels it too?
Yes, she misses him as well.
Since that Friday when the swap stopped and the fighting resumed, the atmosphere has changed. The same breathing space that returned for a moment gave way to great concern to Naama and Itay and to other hostages, and the understanding that there is no time.
I am the father whose daughter has been in hell for 61 days. And my feeling as a father of such a girl is that I can't help her. I can't save her.